insight. If Jankos wasn't crazy, I would have called him insane. We just decided 4 are gonna die. We decided I'll save the Nexus. I'm calling nonsense.
No, it reminds me of Thomas Müller. He's a player from the German national team, and whenever an interviewer asks him a question that he thinks is not great, he also just trolls with a straight face. Jankos quite does the same thing.
Well, yeah, and what I'll say to that is it's a bit unfortunate for Pulse City. He's a little short in stature because things easily go over his head.
Oh, yeah. Well, in any case, thank you so much, Pulse, and welcome all of you to the post-game lobby. We're still joined by Giant jungler Maxlore to help us recap this evening's games, as well as Stress, who joined us from the B stream over in the studio, casting things. There are a couple of things we wanted to look at in this game 2 of H2K, because as said, it was about to tilt for one team or the other, and then H2K won, and then they said, we're going to tilt Schalke off the planet of the Earth.
It was, yeah, they're gone. They're still tilting. H2K stomped Schalke in game 2. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And right from the early game, Jankos and the rest of H2K just destroyed Schalke. You can actually see Jankos having a chat. That is fantastic. First Blood King, which is actually beautifully ironic because the replay that we have is of the First Blood. When we pull it up on your screen, Maxlore, can you break down some of the mechanics here of this play?
So I think this was incredibly played by Jankos. He walked in when obviously attacked him with red buff, and he was really patient with his E, and he used his W, which has the same animation as his stun, to kind of bait the flash from Fox, and then he lands the stun. It was just perfectly played, in my opinion.
So if you are in Schalke's shoes, right, and you come off that first game that you end up losing because of the turnaround, and then this is the first thing that happens, how do you keep control of yourself?
I mean, I would just say, like, it's fine, guys, and just go for the win, you know? You always have to kind of be positive when it's a really competitive game compared to every other game, like scrims or solo queue, and you just have to look past it and, like, look at how to win.
Yeah, holistically looking at these two teams, obviously H2K, big question marks for us. How much of a sign for you guys is this as H2K is back on the right track?
I mean, look, game 2 was good, right?
Yeah.
But I think hearing Jankos in the very first answer of his interview saying that game 1 we threw, and that's the truth. They had the Hecarim, you know, they lost their Rek'Sai, which is what Maxwell thought they were going to run.
Through at Baron.
Through at Baron, and that is what allowed Schalke back into the game. If Schalke had played that Nexus Siege a little better, maybe they would have picked up a win. But luckily for H2K, they won game 1, and there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Tress.
No doubt about it, but I caught most of the series. We were still casting in most of game 1. I still don't really know how to feel about the consistency that H2K bring. It feels like a weird void where we've always said H2K have been a consistent team for like the last year. And right now, I still don't feel like they're in that place. They're the kind of team that can do great one day, but not so great the next day. And I still don't know exactly where to place them, but a 2-0 win over that is obviously a great way to kind of pick up some points on the way to playoffs.
Super important. We're going to take a look at the schedule later. I don't know from the top of my head who they're playing tomorrow, but in any case, someone who will turn up is Jankos. He's player of the game. That's 2 in a row for him, so he'll be happy for that.
Yeah, and a great performance. You know, started off really well, got H2K rolling and performed very well. And Max, so you were talking about Jankos and how he plays quite well in this meta. Can you give the viewers a little bit of that story?
I think Jankos is really good at metas that involve ganking, and like before the meta, the carry jungler meta, I didn't think he was as good, but now that Elise and Rek'Sai are coming back, and maybe Lee Sin, who knows, then Jankos I think will be really good and shine.
What makes him good at ganking? Like there was a shot of a fan of the First Blood King t-shirt, and that's still kind of very true. Why is that? I
think he just sees opportunities like really well, and I think he's the type of jungler that wouldn't mind like going for a risk, because I say ganking is kind of a risk, because if it doesn't work, enemy jungler gets like a camp or advantage or can gank somewhere else and get a kill. But I think he's really good at understanding when it's 100% a kill, and he doesn't mind sacrificing himself to kind of get his team ahead.
I know you speak very highly of Trick, as we all do, but if you look just at ganking, who's the top 3 of junglers in Europe?
I would say Jankos is pretty good at ganking, probably first, and then second. It's there is no second. It's just everyone else, you know. I think like just Jankos is just the best at ganking, and
in a league of his own.
Yeah, he's just in a league of his own. I mean, like I think Gilius can be good at ganking as well, but I think Jankos is just on the top.
Where do you rate?
What, me?
Yeah.
I don't like to rate myself because I'm sometimes a bit cocky.
We'll do it for you. Before we move on, let's take a last look at the ending of game 1. We have a very cool montage of that one.
hitting the base. Will he drop? He's going to drop. Can they turn it around? They're so low. They have the CC. Can they turn it back? Triple kill. Yes, it's going. Oh my God! Another one. Quadra kill. And EU just keeps delivering. Yes,
Yes, we can go. Hey, they might have TP on right, so we have to end in 50 seconds.
They don't have TP on Rise, I think.
Don't ever say we censor things.
Oh, the word that means everything. It's great. But hey, if there's one good thing about, well, many good things about Sifa joining us, but he seems to be some kind of charm for these games. That's 2 in a split.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
2 for Sifa already in a split.
So who's the most passionate jungler? I think that's also Jankos, probably, if you look at his reactions. Whew, fantastic stuff. Anything else?
He's always just so animated.
Yeah, with his mouth in there.
The thing that I love is if you watch the player cams, whenever Jankos says anything for better or worse, he's always like all over the place on the camera, making it like really tough for us to track.
I think we have like Soaz and Jankos, player cam wise, they are the most entertaining to watch.
I agree.
I would say.
I agree.
We should keep an eye on that. In any case, let's move on to another series we saw today. Fnatic versus Vitality. Obviously, Vitality needs to pick up some wins, and Fnatic was coming off an 0-4 week, but they did fantastic in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, they did. Game 2 from Fnatic was very impressive. I liked what they brought to the table.
This was so good.
Game 1, though, was weird because Vitality pulled ahead early. They had like a big advantage for the first 15 minutes. And for the 4th time in a row, Fnatic were down at 15 minutes in gold. But then straight up Vitality made the same mistakes they've been making. They overcommit, they allow themselves to get flanked, they threw at Baron again, and it basically just allowed Fnatic to run them down. So that was game 1. And then game 2 was just pretty one-sided. Fnatic got ahead early, that's why we're jumping straight to 20 minutes. And they closed out relatively cleanly.
I noticed Cabo played Jax in the first game. How was he when it comes to split pushing? Because we've seen a bunch of teams, like Giants, one of them that played Jax today.
He did perfectly fine because he got ahead, he was split pushing. The problem is the rest of Vitality went, oh, we'll come hold your hand.
Oh.
So what ended up costing Vitality the game, Cabo was pushing top. They left Nuke Duck on Cassiopeia in the bottom lane alone, and the rest of Vitality went to Jax, the dude with teleport. Then Fnatic went, oh, great. It's going to take Nuke Duck 23 years to get here. So they killed the rest of Vitality, took Baron, and won the game.
Okay, because we're seeing a lot of Jax play where it's not quite split push. Like OG tried to TP in team fights. Yeah, I was going to say, you guys played the Jax. Any thoughts from, playing with a Jax perspective?
I mean, I think, Smitty's a pretty good top laner, and he's really good at communicating when he's ahead. And if he has a favorable matchup, or if he gets like slightly ahead, he just knows what to do with the champion. And yeah, I mean, with Jax, you just like split push, and you can team fight with it, of course, but you generally want to kind of leave him on his own, or the jungler comes and dives the enemy top laner if he's defending under the tower.
Please listen to that.
Yeah.
Leave him on his own. Jax split pushes. He can win the game on the map. Stop forcing him into like 5v5s.
Yeah, also, as much as you say can team fights, I agree with you. Don't listen to that bit. Just side lane. All side lane. It's good.
Yes.
You're not wrong, but at the same time, for people listening, just side lane Jax.
What do we make of Vitality as a whole here? What do you make of Vitality with Shook back in their ranks, or how much can you judge it? You might have not have played them yet.
I think Vitality, like, because they have Cabo, and he's the kind of guy that like loves pulling the jungler into his lane, and if carry meta is back, he's the type of guy that's like, oh yeah, let's play carry and I'll carry the game alone. And so he'll like kind of communicate, or I don't know how it's done, but the jungler always ends up going top if you're in a team with Cabo, and Cabo will get a lead and they'll either win or they'll lose. Like, that's just it,
So you have to face off against him, and Smitty J has got a fairly similar play style.
Yes, very
So
similar.
does Smitty say, get into my lane, pitch a tent, grab some s'mores, because we're taking them down, or what?
I mean, in competitive, Smitty is a lot different than he is in scrims. Like, in scrims, it's all about the luckier jungler going top lane. and even in solo queue, it's the same. But on stage, like, it's a lot more calm, and he understands that if I need to be around bot side, then he'll play a lot more safe.
Okay, let's take a look at your matches actually of today. G2 up versus Giants. In all honesty, we talked about your team here on the desk saying that you guys were strong, but we didn't think you could take down G2. So what went great for you guys in this game 1?
This went great.
I mean, this was pretty clutch, as they say. No, but I mean, I think there were just 2 lucky Baron steals, and if G2 got it, it would have made the game harder. But G2 kind of, the first game, their comp was really lackluster, but the second game they had a better comp, and we made a huge mistake bot side when they had TP advantage, and yeah, it just screwed up the game for us.
So you won game 1 because you were lucky?
I mean, we did really good plays. We were winning early and mid, and well, we just won, you know, we were winning, but the Barons were really they made good calls, and going to the Baron, the first call they did was actually good, but fortunately, luckily, I managed to steal it.
Yeah, I can provide some context on this. It was a good timed smite steal, like I'm not taking anything away from you, but for context, Trick was playing Nunu, consumes the Baron to 717 health, and his smite does 680. At that point, Max comes in with the Q on Elise, whether it was on Tamkench or somebody else, gets it when there's like 30 health left. So good timing.
Calculation.
A little bit of luck, good calculations on that one. That's how close it was.
Well, we actually asked our production team to put together a little montage of your Baron steals. There were a couple in the last week as well, I believe, and you were talking about beforehand how you weren't doing as good in the spite department, and now it's going better. So what caused that change?
I mean, it was two things. It was firstly, like before, I used to not focus on Baron HP that much, and I used to kind of like say I was really scared of 50-50s, and I'd tell watch the team like, oh, we should turn, zone the enemy jungler, and if enemy jungler got in, I'd like crap my pants, you know. But then I managed to, my team just convinced me that like, we have faith in you and you should just look at Baron HP, and I put my faith in my team knowing that all my job is to look at Smite, and if the Baron HP, and if they come in, if the enemy jungler comes in, then 50-50, but better chance for us because we have people attacking. And the second reason is smitearena.com.
You know, you also have a bit of a legacy to work with. The guy who was in your seat before on Giants was Frederick. We called him El Bandido because he kept stealing Baron, so maybe that's just the thing you get when you play for Giants.
I think the Bandido is just flowing within me.
Yeah, it is. Feel it in your veins. Let's take a look at the standings. Haven't shifted too much after today. I'm actually quite interested to see G2 still in first, obviously, so unchanged there. Actually, completely unchanged.
The biggest thing for me is Vitality, Origin, and Roccat down at 9, 9, and 8. The 3-point difference now between UOL and then another additional 2 points for Giants and Schalke. They're running out of series to play. And this is where things now start to get very worrying for those 3 teams if they want to make playoffs.
For you, Maxlore, you guys are sitting in quite a comfortable position due to the fact that you have racked up so many 2-0s, even though you also lost a good amount of series. Is there anything you thought about specifically? We'd rather get a 2-0 here and practice more for that than bet our money on the 2 matches this week?
I think we just are the type of team that we don't tilt from the first game. But on the day, if the enemy team is better than us, then they're just better, you know? And we're most likely going to get 0-2'd, or we're going to go 2-0. I mean, ties are really rare for us. But I think we've already faced off Fnatic and G2, the hardest opponents, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so now we have, like, cleanup, you know?
So it's like Q&A with Maxlore at the moment. But so on the day, if they're better, they win. So why was it at the beginning of the split? There was a lot of days everyone else was better. And now, like, in the middle of the split, it turns out you're doing better? Like, what's changed?
I think the main reason is smites. Honestly, like, the first... we lost, like, so many games due to smites, like, against Schalke and one against Splice, that's it. And I just got more confident in smites, and communicating got better, and our drafts the first few weeks kind of sucked. But I think we've just grown and improved a lot as a team. And yeah, we're just winning more now, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to talk a bit more about Giants because earlier in this show, we asked you, who do you think will earn or lose a playoff spot in the coming weeks and why? And Maxwell will be pleased to hear that at Time and Shadow thinks Giants will sneak their way in along with Schalke and the current top 3. That's definitely also the sentiment, I would say, amongst the caster team, that you guys look like a very good contender for that top 6, and Veria said top 4 finish.
He did. He said he'd make a bold prediction it would be top 4. I thought we were going to be a BM one there and say they'd lose their playoff spot at that point when we started reading it.
Same.
But for you guys have actually looked a lot better as a unit in the last couple of weeks, which is what I think has been impressive. You know, Deficio and Vedius were talking a lot about how, 3 players are making the team, but I actually feel like in the last couple of weeks, Sonstar's come into his own as well. Is that something you've noticed within the team?
I mean, Sonstar actually, like, people give him a lot of flame and stuff, but he does actually shot call sometimes, and like rotations and when we should do 1-3-1 and stuff. And I think he's gotten a lot better at communicating, and he's pretty good on these utility champions, which is kind of the meta right now in terms of AD carry. And because we put him on these champs, like, it allows Smitty to just be Smitty.
Another player I want to highlight, and we actually got a tweet from @RoyceAko who agrees and thinks Giants will earn a playoff spot with Knight and Maxlore stepping up. It is possible. Of course, we were talking to you, but our eyes this whole split have been on Knight, this kind of new prodigy playing here in Europe. You laugh, why?
Just Reddit. Just whenever we win, it's like, oh my god, Knight, so good, you know. And even if he goes like 0-3, oh, so good. And it's that's a meme.
Thing is,
That's a
though,
meme within,
this is Vidius' fault. This is literally his fault because day one of the split, he came in saying like Knight is my boy, like I got so much faith in Knight, and like really built him up. And then to be fair, you know, Knight had some very good performances. But I think if you look at playoffs and you know the Twitter question in particular, there's only 3 or 4 points separating 6th through 10th. So if Rocket all of a sudden pick up 2 2-0s, they're not back in playoff contention. So yes, this gap is growing, but is by no means big enough to say that everybody's safe just yet.
So we had the Twitter question and some nice answers. Giants are in according to the ones we selected. So let's ask you guys, who do you think is not going to be in playoffs 100%?
Rocket. It pains me because I thought they were doing good weeks 1 and 2.
Yep.
I was like, hey, I really like their drafts. But Rocket right now, I haven't seen today's games because I was casting on stream 2, but from the last couple of weeks have just looked so rough. I mean, that is to be expected in my opinion right now. So if that is the case, then Rocket don't seem to fix any of their issues. But we can see maybe they'll fix something in the last couple of weeks, but I think it's fairly slim pickings.
I mean, I'm going to say 2 because I like to be Mr. Controversial here, and I don't think Unicorns of Love and Vitality will make it into playoffs. I think UOL have spurts of activity, but I just don't think the ceiling of the team's there. And I feel like Vitality are on a really rocky bed, which is going to be tough to fix.
What if I told you that the UOL 2-0'd Origin quite handily today?
I think that tells me more that Origin are playing badly than Unicorns are playing well. Right? Like a 9th place team can always beat a 10th place team, but a 9th place team is not going to be able to beat a 3rd place team. And Origin are far from that.
Yeah, Maxlore, I wouldn't want you to speak badly of any of your colleague teams, but who do you think is kind of a underrated team or was that deserves a spot in the playoffs?
Out of the bottom...
Any of the teams.
I think if Vitality get their stuff together, they could be like up there, but I don't know what's happening within the team there. I think Rocket, I think that a few of their teammates have champ pool issues. Otherwise, they could be up there too. And Unicorns of Love, I don't know, man. This team is just so random, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Let's take a look at who achieved player of the game today. Not so random, or maybe, well, it was UOL's Veritas. First time player of the game for him. Bizuchachi is in there as well. So it definitely kind of tells the story of Fnatic, the 2 of Febevin, Reckless, and Jankos for H2K. And then Smitty J is in there as well, not Maxlore.
Yeah, why not, dude?
Sucks.
Why are you not there, bro?
Just people always stealing my thunder, man.
Yeah.
There is a vote system here, and I think there were some votes for you as well, but, you know, it's a democracy.
Not enough to win, though.
Yeah.
No.
It's fine, guys. I'm just a jungler slave.
Well, let's take a look at the leaderboard for the entire EU Summer Split, because I believe that there is a whole heap of junglers in there. And Jankos has not taken over from Trick, but he's like on the throne with him. He's like, I'm here.
Superior in the alphabet. Jay comes to 40, so he's ranked the highest, ranked number 1.
Yeah, so Jankos, Trick, Spirit, and then we have Gilius. Yeah, that's it for the junglers, though. So Maxlore.
Look at this, Sven was complaining a few weeks ago. I haven't had player of the game. Clearly decides to, but clearly decides to pick it up. He had a beast performance. Sorry, he had a beast performance today. Like 15 kills, crazy. So Sven stepped it up, got himself right on the bottom of that leaderboard.
Nice. And Knight's in there as well, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Nine Giants is Knight.
Yep. No, but he's good. But yeah, 9.
That's great. In any case, remember.
Is that how you end the day? You're just like 9.
Oh, so lame.
I think we need some sleep. Because remember, the EU LCS is coming your way a few hours early tomorrow. We're going to start at noon Central European Summertime, kicking off day 2 of Week 6 with Origin versus Vitality, breaking their tie in the arena, and Unicorns against Fnatic in the studio. Wow, that's the O2 teams and the 2 O teams of day 1 versus each other. So that's going to be hype, isn't it?
Super, super hype. Origin Vitality is we said whoever Vitality gonna end up facing, that's a close game, but I don't think for the right reasons right now looking at both teams. So could be a bloodbath. early start for those teams as well. Got to wake up, get yourself ready to go.
Early
Who's
start,
Giants
12
playing? I
noon.
just missed the...
Giants are playing H2K.
Ooh,
Second
actually
series
was
that ends stream 2. I'm interested to see how that goes because it's very pleasant sitting on the desk and talking about the game. And we're watching H2K, and I'll be watching with the eagle eye you versus Jankos tomorrow.
Okay, that's nice to know.
Yeah. I think
No
you could
pressure.
contest Baron all the time.
But he's actually a good smiter as well.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
All right. Well,
Alright,
we'll
it'll be
see what
close.
happens tomorrow. But if you need another dose of esports tonight, the NALCS will be live in just a few hours. TSM versus C9, featuring a special bonus cast with Skara, Mark Zimmerman, and Freak that will focus on a mid lane matchup between Bjergsen and Annie Jensen. That's at 2 a.m. Central European Summer Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, and I always check, so that is in 3 hours.
It's such a bummer they've got Freak on there because he's an ADC. He's going to bring down all that mid lane knowledge.
Aw.
Sorry, guys.
Super interesting, though. We'll be sleeping. Probably, hopefully, because we need to have a show tomorrow. But definitely check out that VOD. That'll be very interesting. You guys can stay up, though, if you don't need to wake up early tomorrow. For now, though, oh my God, we are going to log out for the evening. First up, thank you so much, Maxlore, for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Hope it was fun, and good luck versus H2K tomorrow. And we're going to see you all tomorrow at midday for a lunchtime serving of League of Legends European style. Good night.
Night. Night, night.
Night, night.
Night, night.
Night.
Night, night.